Okay, good afternoon, everyone. This is a Can I Walk and Chew Gum at the Same Time test here. So I'm Donna Bourne-Tyson. I'm the chair of CAAL right now, and I'm here to welcome you on behalf of the board, which is pretty funny because looking out at the room. Can the board members put your hands up, please? So, welcome, board. But those of you who are the +1, we're delighted to have you with us, and we're delighted to have people online with us. For those of you who are online, you're missing out a crowd of about 300 people here. And it was a sumptuous lunch of lobster, and on the other hand, you didn't have to find a parking spot, which is hellish. I can say that in public. So anyway, I do want to start out with some thank yous. Thank you to Ann Smith and Acadia for hosting. Thanks very much to our program committee. Thank you to our program committee, Jennifer Richard, Tanya Harrison, and Allison Amby for putting together the day. And thanks to Jen for doing the moderating coming up. Thank you very much to our manager, Cynthia Holt, for organizing everything, making a special trip last week to test out all of the AV, which was clearly worth it. The best laid plans. And we have an amazing program for you today with Stéphanie Gagnon, Craig Olsvik, and Sue Cleyle. This is a very important topic we're considering, or a series of linked issues, and we need to address these issues institutionally, regionally, nationally, internationally, and we're unlikely to come away today with all of the answers, but misery loves company anyway. But I think we'll at least have a more thorough understanding of the issues by the end of the day, because we're lucky to have 3 experts with us. So without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Jennifer.
Okay, so apparently we should have coordinated this better. As Donna said what I was going to say. Not completely. So just to add to Donna's welcome to Acadia and Wolfville, it's a great week to be here because the Devour Film Festival is on right now. And so I know a number of you, the directors, have plans, but there's a food truck rally from 4 to 8 tonight in front of the public library. So if you're around, you'd stay for that. Better than making supper. So enjoy that. And what I was going to do was introduce the planning team for the event. So Don already did that, but I'll just say Tanya Harrison is on the Content Strategy Committee for CRKN, as am I. And I'm also the chair of the Call Collections Committee, so that's why I'm the moderator and doing this. Allison can't be here with us today, Allison Amby from Memorial University, but she is our member on the License Transition Subcommittee for CRKN. And Sue is speaking a little bit on her behalf. And Cynthia. Thank you, Cynthia, for setting this up with us. First, I guess I wanted to start with giving a little shout out to the people in person and the people online that work in collections and electronic resource management. I think we thought this was going to get easier, and it just seems to be getting harder. Though I've been doing electronic resources for 5 or 6 years now, it strikes my heart with fear when that little pop-up email comes up with either the name Craig or Jason and the words title reconciliation. So the idea of title-by-title management to as many of tens of thousands of journals really just makes me want to cry. But the hope with this session is that we can give you some recent real-life experiences from Memorial and Montreal that will help you better understand and make it less daunting, I think. And also to hear from Craig, to see what CRKN is trying to do to help make things easier for libraries that have to make these decisions, these tough decisions. Housekeeping, I think the only housekeeping thing maybe is the bathrooms are just straight down, out here, straight down to the left before you hit the Irving Biodiversity Collection. So I think that's...
The only other housekeeping thing is we are a hybrid meeting today, so we have virtual attendees and in-person. So the virtual attendees can see here, but they can't see out here. So when you start speaking, if you could just say your name and where you're from, just so the folks online. And those that are online, if you could say the same thing too, so the folks in the audience knows who's speaking, that would be great.
Great. So we're going to start with Stéphanie, and I'll just read a little biographical information for Stéphanie. Stéphanie Gagnon is the Director of Collections at the University of Montreal's library. She's been there since 2013. She implemented the methodology of analysis around the new era for collections mindset and process, including the unbundling of their big deals. She chairs the Committee for Collaborative Development of Collections among University Libraries in Quebec, the DCBU, which is a working group of the Office for Inter-University Cooperation in Quebec, the BCI. She's a member of the Content Strategy Committee. That's how Tanya and I know Stéphanie from CRKN. She's been on there since December 2015. And previously, she was head of collections at the Quebec National Library and Archives, specifically for the Grand Bibliothèque project. Welcome, Stéphanie.
Test. Do they hear me? Do they hear? Do you hear?
Sounds perfect. People are
Okay,
thumbs up.
great. Thank you. Okay, hi. Just waiting my presentation. Yes, can you put, can I put, you know, the one where I see the next slide? Yeah, thank you. So, yes, hi. I am happy to come here and to share what we have done since a few years at Université de Montréal. The program is Journals, Publisher, Big Deals, Are They Worth It? This is why we tried to, to know through the years. So I am going to present you a little bit of our experience of analysis of our journals collection and also the negotiation that came after and the unbundlings. Oh, sorry, I don't know. Oh, I can't move. I can't. Okay. So just a few words about Université de Montréal. It's, as you can hear, a French-speaking university in the province, in Montreal. It's the premier center for teaching and research for the province, the second largest student body in Canada, and second in Canada for research. We are a network of 16 libraries on the campus, and our acquisition budget is $12 million, which may seem high, but with that type of research intensity, it is very low, half what our neighbor McGill have, for example. So I am going to present you to go through all our adventure and begin with the context and goals. Then I will share about the methodology that we implemented, speaking about negotiation strategy and tools that we have built in order to do good decision making. We'll see the fair price and alternative access. We'll also see the results and the impacts of this and the communication, because we've built a heavy communication plan, and I think it's probably the most important part of my presentation. So here is the context. In fact, what you can see is the evolution of our acquisition budget through the, let's say, the 10 last years. So when I arrived, we were in 12-13. The blue line is our acquisition budget. The green line is the budget that is made available for periodical. So in between is the amount that is available to buy books. And the green dotted line is the amount that would have been needed if we had renewed all our periodicals. So this, as you can see, when I arrived, we were in a crisis situation. So this was our context. We had budget cuts of more than 17% of our budget, so it was pretty difficult. And as you can see, we had no more money to buy books, or almost no money to buy books. So we realized that, and as you know, we were already facing difficulties with the Canadian device. So the purple line is the Canadian device that was going up already at that time. So yes, we realized that we were in a never-ending crisis situation, and that we had to take position because we wanted to offer a balanced collection for all our patrons, and not only for health people and science people. Humanities needed their books, for example. So this was the beginning. Our goals. This is the evolution of our goals, if you will, and it was not as structured as this. It's when I'm back, I'm able to do this analysis. But our goals at the beginning, we were, as I just said, in this budget crisis situation. We had to balance our budget. So our goal at that time was to try a way to do some economy. So the unbundling has been seen as solution. But through the time, we realized that what we had to do, what was one of the most important things before to do any other steps, we were in a scholarly publishing crisis, so we had something to communicate. We had to explain faculty, students, what we were facing. We had to explain them that information costs something. It's not free, they don't all know. So we, and this is when the CRKN built this, I don't remember the name of the committee, Craig, but all those charts that are explaining the scholarly publication ecosystem. So it was in that minding that also Richard, my boss, presented this idea. In order for us all to be able to communicate with our community and enable them to be part of our solution when we discuss with publishers. And through the times, the goal became broader and broader, and we saw there an opportunity to really redefine the economical model with publisher, try to do it, in fact, because we had to find a way for it to be sustainable for us, because price of journals are always higher and higher. So we established this fair price that I am going to introduce you later in order to be able to control the budget and make something that was going to be sustainable. So I guess most of you or some of you have already heard about the methodology because 28 libraries did the same implemented the same methodology last year with the CRKN, working with Vincent Larivière, a teacher from Université de Montréal. But I'm going just to give you the big lines and the reason of some choices and how we do it. Wiley. So Wiley, and it's not the final methodology, but it's a little bit the history of what we have done. The first big deal that we unbundled in 2014 was Wiley. At that time, we were in a crisis, we had to do very important economies, and this big deal was ending. So this is why it has been the first one. It was really the agenda, an opportunity to do a big economy. So we began to reach methodology of analysis of big deals, and we found one that was implemented by California Digital Library, and that was also available on the CRKN website. They had, I don't know if it's still there, but there was a big deal toolkit. So we took this methodology. Don't take notes, because I will say that we should not implement that one. It's only to give you the history of the process. It's not the final methodology. But all I want to say about this is that it was really bibliometric centric, really quantitative data only, and it was only taking in consideration the journals of Wiley. So When you work with quantitative data, you can imagine that health title and science titles score a lot, and humanities do not score at all. So at the end, the results were not really satisfying for everybody in our community. So but we did it that way, and we received some comments and criticism from some of our faculty, and we decided to gather those people in a wide campus committee, in a working group that we call the Working Group on the Journal Collection. So we gathered them and we asked them to think about some element to improve the methodology and to get the input from the community, because it was one of the comments that have been done to us. So to try a way to, they didn't tell us stop it. This was the good news, but they just they just maybe we could do it otherwise. So in that committee there were faculty, faculty from a lot of different disciplines. There were students. We were 3 from libraries, and we invited Vincent Larivière. So he is a bibliometric and informatic teacher. He chairs, I will have it. He is Canada Research Chair in the Transformations of Scholarly Communication, and he teaches at the library school at Université de Montréal. So it's when we went to meet the library school that we first met him. So he was a really important actor of this operation, and was already tout le temps, always there to help us and to give really good advices. Oh, and the URL you see below is the report of this groupe de travail. So it is available. There is a 2-page that are in English. So if you want more numbers or data or reasons why some decisions have been taken, you can find this there. So essentially what they suggested us is 5 easy steps to identify the most valued title for our community. I will give some details just after, but the first step and the most important probably was to do a survey with our community. Also to gather the quantitative data. They proposed us a methodology to identify priority titles, then suggest to consult with departments and do a final arbitration by librarians. So I will go through a little bit more details. Consultation with the committee. So we built up a survey that we sent to almost 20,000 people by email to grad students and faculty, essentially. We were asking them only 2 questions, very simple questions. Name us 10 essential titles for your research and teaching activities, and name us 5 essential titles for your subject area. So in case somebody somebody was afraid that we do not keep nature, for example, he could name it. It was a lost vote. Anyway, so the participation rate was about 10%, which seems low, but when we look precisely at the faculty, they were 32.5% of the faculty answered it. So we were really happy because they were an important target of it. I will show you the results, the number, just a little bit later. So the second step, as I mentioned, was to collect quantitative data for those. We had 50,000 titles through our different deals. So we, the indicators that have been collected were the, usage downloads. So we collected 5 years of usage downloads, and we did an average, and also citations. So the same thing, we collect 5 years of citation, and we did an average. So the third step was to do the identification of priority title. So the first thing we did was remember that we were not doing only one big deal, but all the collection, the title together. So the first thing we did was to separate the results by 4 great area or big domain that we call. So because we didn't not want to analyze health title with humanities, we wanted to analyze title in area that have the same, where people have the same type of behavior with scholarly publishing. So we analyzed social sciences title together, health, law, arts and humanities, and science and engineering. So the threshold that we established, and it was really the committee who recommended this 18%. So it was 80%. So to be kept or to be designated as a priority title in social science, for example, let's go to look at the yellow. A title had to be, we were keeping the title representing 80% of the downloads, or 80% of the citations, or 80% of the mentions. And the mentions, what I mean by that, the mentions are the titles that have been submitted to us during the survey by people. So this is why this is what are mentioned. So 80% or 80% or 80%, and we did the same exercise for each of the great areas here. And this is what I call the 80% scenario. I will come back with this reality. So this is the recipe, how to establish the priority title. The committee did a lot of tests. Should we keep 90%? No, it's too much. 70%? No, it's too low. So they really experiment. That was the idea, to bring all that different type of people from different disciplines. And at the end, it was consensual. Thank you. I see the. Thank you. So, yeah, the only thing is that for my green group, for law, arts, and humanities, we realized that citation were not valuable indicators. So we did small changes only in the recipe, only for those. So because citations were not helping we were not keeping title with that indicator for humanities, arts, and law. We worked with the indicator in collaboration with Vincent Larivière again, and at the end we changed the threshold for 85%. We keep title corresponding to 85% of the downloads, or 85% of the mentions, but 0 title scores with are kept with the citations. It was a challenge because we wanted to be very fair for each of the great domain and have the results that were pretty the same. So the fourth step was to do a validation by departments. What we did there is that we had all the lists of our priority title that have been identified. So we sent to departments those lists and asked them to tell us if they were okay, if there was some title that were missing or some title that had to be withdrawn, for example. So we gave them, is that okay? Do you want me to stop?
No.
Okay. Okay, so we gave them 3 months to look at the lists and to look at them departments by departments and to debate and to do whatever they wanted. And it was an interesting interesting thing, because those disciplines or units who did not participated a lot during the first step, the survey, they had this second chance to do it. So librarians went and to the departments and helped them to participate, because the impact was too important. So it was a second chance for some of those, and it was really an opportunity to have really a collective view instead of an individual view at the first stage. Oh, it do not follow anymore.
No, I'm just moving to.
Okay.
Tell me when you get. I find the one that you.
Yeah, no, okay. So the step number 5 was the final decision by librarians. So now that we had all those titles that were validated by departments, we sent the same lists to librarians, but we asked them to take a specific view. We asked them to pay attention to French title, for example, to Canadian title, to do their own suggestion for sure, to look at the niche title and or very special niche, is it a word in English? Yeah, thank you. And to look at cost per use, because for example, there were some titles that were costing, I don't know, $24,000 that have been mentioned during the survey by 2 or 3 teachers, so that were priority titles, but without any downloads. We were not totally comfortable to keep them. So we remain a little bit critic about this. So the final decision by librarian. So here are the global results, the number. So out of our 50,000 journals, we had more than 16,000 journals that were used. I say more than, but it's less than 50% of our journals that had downloads in 5 years, remember? So also we had 9,000 titles that have been cited, and $8,000, sorry, always speaking of dollars, 8,000 titles that have been mentioned by our community during the survey, for a subtotal of near 27,000 unique titles that have been cited or mentioned or used. So once we applied our 80% scenario, we still have, we had, are we okay?
No, the server disconnected.
Okay, so people do not hear anymore?
No, they're fine now.
They're okay. So we had almost 500 titles that were really our priority titles, so those ones that we really want when we negotiate. So it's about 10% of our whole collection. But we had to add those new 1,000 titles that have been added during the validation by the different units. So. Okay, so we were almost at 12% of our whole original list of journals. What was interesting for us was to realize that at the end, half of them have been qualified by quantitative data, but half of them with qualitative data, so with the survey, or during the validation by units or by the librarians. So it really comforts us that this methodology was really, really interesting and really made the difference. Look. I try. We're not at the same place at all. This is strange. Yeah, we should be there. Okay. Okay, so here, what is it? This is the main tool we work with. So as those who participate to the journal usage project with the CRKN and Vincent Larivière, we received very important Excel spreadsheet of 79 columns and a lot of data. And we had to do a lot of cleaning, a lot to do before we were able to take any decision. And at some point, we decided that Excel was not answering our needs because we had the 2 or 3% that had to put data in it by the same time, and we weren't able to do it with Excel. And we had to do pretty sophisticated requests, and so it was too complex with Excel. So the librarian who is working with me built this journal master file with FileMaker. But it is really a very interesting tool now and easy to work with. So what did we? So here you have a record of one journal. So there is one record for each of the journal, with all the information that we gathered for this specific journal. So there is bibliographic information, the platform, that it belongs to. There are the indicators of the methodology, so citation, usage stats, survey mention. Usage stats are GR1 for those who know counter stats. What we also add is the availability of archives for this title. Also, is there some years of perpetual access for this title that whether have been negotiated by the CRKN or by our own. Also, have those titles been selected in some unbundling situation we were in, because we have unbundled Wiley, but after we came back with the old list. But we are at this moment still in an unbundling situation with Springer and with Taylor and Francis, for example. So it has to be written somewhere that we had those changed those selections. Also, the scenario I was referring to earlier, and I will come back with it. So, is it a title that is a priority title for us? The disciplines they belong. There are some subjects also that are here, subjects and administrative area they belong to. So we took the subject that are given by publisher in the lists that they submit, or at some point we had to go in Ulrich's to give a subject to the title. Also, we put list price, cost per use. Has the title been, is there publication from members of our community in that journal, for example? So what else? A lot of information, everything in fact that we collect, that a title is uploaded there. And we chosen also a FileMaker because we wanted something easy to upload information, and after that to do reports in Excel. So it's interesting software for that, but there are a lot of interesting software that are not FileMaker that has some other problem. Also, we are currently uploading the GR5 counter report. Also, the overlap between the publisher and the aggregator we subscribe to. So different thing. I always have new ideas week after week. I haven't needed my Timo now, but it is really something that is helpful. Okay, so now that we have our journal master file, we wanted to look at the results. So once that we have all the data, where in our big deals, how many essential titles are they? So here I just put the top 5 publishers. Elsevier, Wiley, Springer Nature, TNF, Sage. So the second column is the number of titles that are in the big deals. And the last column is the number of essential titles for UDM's community in those big deals. So I also put it in percentage. So as you can see, in the best situation, it's 37% of a big deal, of Sage's big deal, that are essential. So 1 title out of 3 are essential, the rest is not for us. And the worst for us is Springer Nature. So at the time, only 10% of Springer Nature titles are essential for our community. So you can already see there where it's going to be difficult to negotiate. You don't have to go further, but we did it. We went further. Okay. So this is why we, once that we had the portrait, we began to establish our negotiation strategy. So the first thing that we had to think about was what was the budget that was going to be available to discuss with this publisher. How were we going to establish this budget, and how were we going to be able to be fair between all of the publishers? So we established what we call the fair price. So here is, can I? not following. Okay. Okay, here is this chart that is pretty complex, but I'll try to explain. So essentially, it's the price for individual subscription to our essential titles, and it's based on a list price from the publisher. So we work with their vocabulary, with their information. So what you can see, the first column is the big deal negotiated price. So I anonymize the publisher. It's nobody you can, but you certainly have some ideas of who is where. Craig, don't talk. No, it's a joke. It's not real one. So the first column was the negotiated price. So the last invoice we had for those publishers when we were taking all the big deal. And I bring you to the last column, this 80% scenario. So 80% scenario, in fact, it's the addition of the list price of the priority title that we established previously with the 80% recipe, remember? So what you can see already is that it's not affordable. It's the ideal, or it's what is needed by our community, but it's over what we were paying in consortia when we were having the big deal. So we already knew that we had to do some compromise, or we had to fix smaller retention rate to be able to go in negotiation, and it was not easy because we had to balance between the needs of our community and our reality, our need to do some economy, but to offer something respectable for our community's needs. So if I put the same negotiated price for publisher B and publisher C to explain a little bit how it works. In fact, as 80% scenario was unaffordable, we built a 70% scenario, so smaller threshold. 60%, 50%, we did all the percentages. And we fixed what we call the fair price line or a budget line somewhere between 60 and 70%. So this line that I haven't drawn because I don't want to reveal the secrets of those PowerPoint who are going everywhere in the world by email. So this budget line is the same for each of the publisher. So we really stick to it. So if you look at publisher B, for example, we were paying them $500,000. Let's say that between 60 and 70%, it's around, let's say, $600,000. So with $600,000, it's a nonsense to unbundle or to go in negotiation because we really have a big deal with the $500,000 that have been negotiated. So it would, in that type of situation, we just don't do anything, we renew. So, but at the opposite, if you look at the publisher C, between the 60 and the 70%, it's almost $300,000. So you can see that we were paying $500,000, so there is a real economy there. So in that typical situation, we would go and negotiate in negotiation. We would try to get access to everything with that amount. We would not put $1 more than that amount. So, and as you can imagine, when the gap is very large between what the publisher is expecting and what we are offering us, it's where difficulties begins. So, and it's where you have the most important risk of having to unbundle and not having access to everything. So here it's only the same thing, but saying another way. So as you know, publishers' price are taking in consideration all the titles, commercial motives, stakeholder needs, used and unused title, and you have to pay for what their acquisition, their mergers, transfer title, everything have been, they have to take in consideration all of that. But we do not speak the same language. What we want is to pay for the value of essential titles only, So it's something that is based on our community's needs and our point of view, but we speak with their list price, so we think we respect them. Joke. So what we did after, once we knew that that fair price, yeah, we established another tool, or we tried to find, in fact, alternative access to all the contents. So, and we tried to build what we call the CPUA, the cost per use adapted or adjusted, which is not something I invented. I heard it from Stephen A. Knowlton from Princeton University. So this is, I don't know if he invented it, but I didn't want to. So the traditional cost per use, as you know it, is the subscription price divided by all the uses. But the adjusted cost per use is still the subscription price, but divided by just those uses that are not available through perpetual access or other means such as open access or aggregated databases. So this is what we try to do. Is there other path to have access to the same content? And as we have to speak with a publisher who is always speaking about his cost per use, okay, we're going to play with you, but we will bring some nuances. So here is the beginning. Okay, we have a big deal, for example, worth that we were formerly paying $500,000 with 500,000 clicks, which is, okay, a pretty performing big deal with a $1 cost per use. And already, if you put at your essential title that have been identified, it's already a smaller number of downloads, so we are at 1.25 cost per use for those essential titles. So what we did was to ask ourselves, okay, let's look at the archives, let's look at the perpetual access, so at part of this content that we have already paid or are already covered by our license agreements. So we should not have to put new money. We do not put new money for that. So we documented it in. Maybe it's not easy to see it, but it was on our matrix, and we did an extraction of this information in order to isolate this perspective. So what is there are for each of the title, which one were in the back file that we have purchased, and which one were in perpetually accessible through with former deals. So the second group of information that we gathered, I already spoke about it, are access of those same journals in our subscription to aggregators. So again, we worked with a Gold Rush. It's a software that you can, I don't remember if it's Arizona University, it's a US university who built it, an overlap analysis. I know SFX also make something like this available. So it was a tool where we had the opportunity to select the publisher's title and all of our subscription. So it's pretty interesting what it gives, because for Springer only, 15.5% of Springer's canceled title are accessible through aggregators with 12-month embargo, not current content. So this is type of information that is interesting to say to our community and to express in our SFX lists. And also, and mainly probably in negotiation, we realized that 37% of our very small selection of almost 150 Springer's retained title are accessible also with 12-month embargo. So when I come with here, the publisher, and I am telling Springer, I have one out of 3 titles that I still have with you in that, even if we unbundled, but 37% of them are also available in aggregators, I am pretty uncomfortable to continue to give you so much money. So I won't say, it gives idea to cancel everything, let's say it like that. So it have an impact on the publisher. They don't like this. I would say they don't like, now they are aware of our methodology. We have talked a lot about that, and Canadian, maybe you may have all talked about the methodology to publishers, but this type of eggs have an impact really in negotiation. So Gold Rush. The third group of information that we try to gather in order to know what is accessible, an alternative, are open access title. And this is a little bit more difficult because open access, I'll go there. There are some sources. There is One Science, that is a Montreal company who is offering that type of analysis, but it's expensive. So we haven't subscribed to it. I know Calgary did, and I think it's interesting, the results, but you have to be able to afford it. And on paywall is a small application that you can upload, and it gives you, if the title that you are looking for is available in open access. And the team of On Paywall just published an article in late last August with Vincent Larivière. This title, The State of Open Access, a Large-Scale Analysis of the Prevalence and Impact of Open Access Articles. So it's the title of the article they published. And they made available the raw data. So we went and we took the raw data. It's a very small échantillon. Who can help me? Sample, merci Marthe. So it's a very small sample. So when we saw this, we called On Paywall people. So we're trying to go further with that. So it could be really interesting. So we're still in exploration. But the difficulty, even with that, is that the sources of information is article-based, and it's more granular than our need, that is journal-based. So we don't know yet what we're going to be able to do on a very specific way. We still work on it, but it's still interesting to be able to say to this publisher that 24% of your journals are available in open access, even if I know that it's a nonsense because some have partially open access, some have totally, so, but we're not in the nuance here. So in the discussion it's interesting to have it. But anyway, it brings us to the last one. Once we have explore all of those potential alternative access, we have those stats that were done on perpetual access. We had those that have been done with title that are also available through with aggregators, open access. And once we look at only our essential title green bubble, you see that at the end here is the only part that is exclusive to what the publisher is offering you. So it can give you, I wrote $20 as a cost per use. It really changes the numbers. So when you speak with the publisher, you cannot say anymore that he has a really performing a big deal. No, it's not true. Look at this and look at this. Our difficulty now is to be able to really to really have the exact overlap, but we are about to do it. My team is working on it right now, except for the open access data that are giving us some troubles. So I'll come with the results and impact of our negotiation. Just looking if I'm speaking too much. Only 15 minutes. So the impacts of our negotiation, I have already told this. The success of our we had success with Wiley, Sage, and Cambridge. What is a success for us? It's to be able to access everything while we pay only the fair price. So for us, we have been able to conclude agreements we have satisfied with those three. And we had to unbundle Springer Big Deal, TNF, and Institute of Physics. And yes, we do each of the analysis for each of the smaller big deals. The publishers are the first to say, oh no, we tried, we were exceptional, and you weren't going to call us sorry. We do it for all our group of title. Now, I think you might be interested by the impacts on our team. Sorry, I am becoming to be comfortable and taking place. Okay, so the impact on our team on public services, so reference, librarian, etc. Yes, they are the first on the first line with the community. So they had to be they are the ambassador of all those principles and methodology, and they have to explain it to faculty, and mainly faculty, but also students, each day. So we had to meet them and really to enable them to be able to first to be part of this solution, and then to explain it to people, and to keep the mobilization of the community. On cataloging and metadata team, yes, there have been some impact, because imagine at the Wiley situation, we were in big deal, then we unbundled, then the year after we changed the selection, and then we came back in an unbundling situation. They love us. No, it's not that bad. We are really collaborating and sending them Excel spreadsheet, very complex, but it helps them to build new SFX target. But they cannot use those very ideal CRKN normalized keybar that exists, unfortunately. So it's a lot of changement and instability for them, but I think that now it's okay. They are used to it. On ILL, this is a question that is always asked. Did you notice some important effect on ILL? No. In fact, yes, there have been an increase, but only because when we first unbundled Wiley, we withdraw all the fee, the $3 fee that were there before. So since that time from now, there is no fee. So there have been an increase. But when we look at which journals have been requested through ILL, it's not the big deals that we unbundled. So it's, yeah, impact, but not. So where do people, does it mean that the need was overestimated? Or does it mean that people are going elsewhere? We don't know. Maybe we should do. I don't know how we do it. There is a research to be done. They ask colleagues, do they go on Sci-Hub? We don't know. We try to do incentive to them to work with. With Unpaywall, for example, or some other legal tools, but we are not sure what they are doing. Impact on my direction of collection. I supervise assessment and acquisition team. There is a huge impact on them. I have 2 persons working, not all the time, but 80% of their time on assessment, on the master file, on all of those assessments. So it is a lot of the updates of analysis of work, really. It really changed. And people of the acquisition department took back a lot of the tasks that were done previously by the other teams. So, and they negotiate more and more and more. So it's a motivation to do negotiation, the kind of enabling process. And communication team have had an important impact, because for them, mainly at the beginning of the old operation, they had to do a lot of communication, of press releases, they had to follow and try to build tools in order this to be understandable and clear for the community. So they worked very hard with us. The other side. So it's us, we are the black sheep. So external impact, I see Craig who is laughing. So yes, there are external impacts, I guess. The first one is that we withdraw our participation of important number of consortial deals. So Elsevier, Wiley, Springer, Tillon, Francis, IOP, Sage, and Cambridge were not in the CRKN negotiation. So it means instability, questions. It means other preoccupation, new committees, etc. But I think that it will help because everybody will face at one point the same reality that we have faced a few years ago. Also, it is pretty strange because we are wearing a double hat. We are the risk for a consortia, for example. We represent some potential risk, but we are also, we think we are also a possible solution. So we occupy a particular position. As you know, I am on the CSC content. So I was in the negotiation team for the big publisher, for example. So, so at some point it was uncomfortable, but at other point I think that I've been able to bring some solution or a good question, I guess, to publisher, because I know that I do not represent myself, but a lot of libraries who are facing the same reality. Also, it raised interest and curiosity, and the Canadian Library did this journal usage project, and we hope other libraries in the world would do the same. And it have been raised new opportunities of exchanges with US and European libraries also sharing the same challenges. So very interesting in that perspective. So before, I know you're coming. Before switching to my communication part, I would do a last bilan, last look of everything. So it gives us opportunity to do all this operation and to withdraw ourselves of global and consortia negotiation, and also risks for us and real challenges. The opportunity is that it gives us an holistic approach of what we have with a publisher. So when I speak to Springer, for example, I'm not only speaking about journals. I can bring my idea to do an EBA with them, to buy books. This is really, I have all the product that I am taking with them, so it gives me some level of negotiation that I hadn't before. Also, cost saving. We estimate that we have annual cost saving of $1 million since we have begun those negotiations. So it gives us the control of our budget. But because remember, we wanted to have money to buy books. So this year, for example, 22% of my budget is dedicated to books and 78% to journals. So we really have been able to do this balance that we wanted to get by all those operations. Interesting that this is a new beginning for collection development, because librarians were not doing a lot of collection development. They were renewing. So now they know so much. They know their collection, their journals. They really, it's a really interesting side effect. It's the positive point. We established a new way to do business. So it's instability for us and the publisher, but it's interesting to bring something new, and it brings us to be really creative. So it was a perpetual challenge. But the negative or the challenge side is that our negotiations are always done in an expired contract context. Because at that moment, for example, I am renewing Elsevier, Wiley, Sage, Springer, and Tillon Francis. But I know none of those representatives are going to speak with me until they will have the results of the CRKN, and this is okay. I'm comfortable with this, but it's a stress because they will get those results at the beginning of December, for example, and the agreement is until the end of December, so you cannot imagine that you will be able to do it before Christmas. So most of the time we are discussing in January, February, sometime until June. So a publisher could pull the plug when he wants. So it gives a little stress, or we're used to it, but it's a challenge. Also hard and toiling discussion, yes, because as we were bringing a new way to do business, we have option B and option C. The discussions are very long, and the publishers are trying things that they have never tried in some occasions, so it's really long consultation, so it's not easy. One of our risks is cynicism from our team. And our community, since the beginning, they are with us, but always hearing about canceling and unbundling may be a little bit tiring, I can understand. So we have to go back and to continue, keep on giving information and motivation and giving the side effects, the positive side effects of that. Isolation is a risk because as we were alone, but we are not, because there is a memorial and some others library who are really interested by those works. So as long as we are alone, we are not an important threat for the publisher. They listen to us, they do some small agreements, but we would like other library to be with us, so we would have this real impact on publisher. For example, one of the publishers told me, oh, you know, Stéphanie, as long as almost 12 university library canceled the last year, we think that we will not come back with a big deal offer. Oh, okay, interesting. So the cancellation speaks to you, okay? So when people will come with us, it will be really, we'll do the same. It might be most interesting. And confidentiality clause is a negative side effect, because in a lot of situations we have no choice but to sign those confidentiality clauses. So with this CAAL initiative, for example, to share the data, we would like, but we are a little bit coincé, stuck. Thank you. So the last part of my presentation is communication. As I mentioned earlier, communication is, for me, I think, the most important part of it. It is really the key to the success, if we can call it a success. We have done a lot of communication. After the first unbundling of Wiley, Richard Dumont, my boss, wrote articles in our local newspaper to explain people what we were going to do, why we were going to do it. He gave them stats, data to really explain the scholarly publishing crisis situation. Then we met with departments. He met with the higher administration, the faculty union, the students, with all the library personnel, a lot of with deans. Here is it's really small, I am sorry, but it was the list of things that have been done before the Wiley unbundling. We built a website that is called Nouvelle Ère pour les collections, New Era for Collections. So this is why when Jennifer presented me, she was speaking about New Era for Collection. So this is the name of the whole operation and of the website. So this is, and also what did we, I published an article last year about it. What have we done else? We've done a lot of communication. This is what we have to remember, but because we wanted people to be behind us and with us, it was really important, and it was really an important leverage in discussion, because when I am with a publisher and he's telling me, oh, no problem, I'm going to meet with your people from Health Science, and I can say, no problem, they know what I am doing, they know why I did it, and you know the survey, the dimensions, because I always explain the methodology, they were part of it. So go and be there. I have no problem with that. So, yeah, here is just one page of our website. And also what we systematically do is publishing press releases. So when we unbundle, when we do modification, when we renew all the collection, we do press releases and we forward them in Twitter and Facebook and everywhere. And we translate them, which is really new at Université de Montréal. You won't see a lot of things in English, but our press releases are, which is because we really want to share. The impact of this is that we have real manifestation of solidarity and support from our community. When we unbundle Wiley, our rector wrote to Wiley's CEO. I received a phone call from Wiley because a researcher refused to translate a book. So this was a good one. They want to know what was happening. Oh yeah, you want to know, you will know. Last year when we unbundled Springer, 400 students signed a petition that is sent to Springer, CEO also. Faculty's letter have been sent to Springer and Francis, etc. So this is what we want. We want them to really speak to the publisher, because when we speak to the publisher, there is an effect. But when a faculty is writing to them, then there is a real effect. They are really, ça les dérange, it matters for them. So, I just wanted to say that all this analysis and all those unbundlings and all this operation is important to us, but it is inscribed. It is in a broader perspective. We do other types of initiatives. In fact, we do not want to unbundle and do economies, and we want to speak about this scholarly publication, and we want to take action for it. And for us, taking action is also support open access. So we established ourselves humble target of supporting open access initiatives. We support Knowledge Unlatched, that you may know, Scope 3, Érudit. I don't see anything. We have published with our Presse de l'Université de Montréal. We published ebooks in open access, so we fund this experiment. So we try to do a lot of type of initiatives to make that at the end the knowledge is accessible for everybody without paying those huge prices. So I'm almost done. Are you ready to unbundle? I ask you the question. No. This is my little suggestion. So if you really consider it, there are things that are smart to do or to prepare or to analyze. There are two types of action. Prepare your collection and prepare your community. By preparing the collection, I mean for big deals that have a core collection, like Taylor and Francis or Elsevier, for example. Take the opportunity that you have to do the swap when possible. Now you will like the reconciliation. Those swaps are very important because your core collection are the titles that are going to be accessible to your community in perpetuity. So it is really important that this core collection is really what your community values the most. Also, read your license agreements. Really read that, because we renew through CRKN, and at some point we just do not look at our license agreements. But when you are not in those agreements anymore, you have some surprises. For example, once we asked to Elsevier if we were able to buy some intermediary archives of titles that were not in our core collection previously, and it was impossible. So this is the type of thing that maybe we would have do something else before. So it's always interesting to know your license agreement. If you are able to do it by the back files archives, it's very expensive, but it is really helpful. And you can do exactly the same type of analysis as we do, explore alternative access to the contents. Also prepare your community, so you communicate, explain them, enable them to be part of your operation and not against you, because it happens. If the community do not understand, the reaction is normal. They will say, all I want is my article, is my journals, and I don't want to hear anything more about it. So they have to understand why we do it and to support you. And makes it. So my conclusion, I hate conclusions. I don't want to conclude. I'm not good in conclusion and I don't like them. No, I repeat, the key to success really is communication. Those big tools, journals, master files, etc. are important, but without having all those communication plan, we could not have done anything else, I think, really, because we heard of some other situation of other difficulties that other university met because their community was not ready. So you can have the best bibliographic tool of the world, but if people are not with you, you won't go anywhere else. And the participation of the community is very important, can be in the survey, in each of the other steps. I already said that journal analysis was the first step toward to give access to knowledge. So it's not unbundling or accessing the collection is something, but it has to be seen in a broader perspective. And also, mobilization of internal external partners. So this is why I'm here, because all this operation will make sense through the time only if we are a lot of university who are protesting or challenging the publisher. Even if we can stay in CRKN and contesting and trying to bring them elsewhere, because our needs are not the same that it was before. So is there something? No. It would be the end. The question part.
That's perfect timing. Thank you.
Yeah, 1 minute 5.
Makes me feel better, I don't think.